going? Mick here from Knob Cartel. Back again for another beer review. So we've got Source Brewing Company's Mosarillo Juicy Double IPA. 8%, 500ml can, 3.2 standard drinks to a can. So it's quite a big one, or considerably big beer. Anything with 3-4 standard drinks. There's some that got 5-6 standard drinks to a can. So it's quite new. It's a celebration of their second birthday, I believe. So double dry hopped with mosaic and amarillo, hence the name Mosarillo. Doesn't actually say anything else about the beer on the can. Special batch. Basically, that's about it. Can't actually read the date on it. It's been stamped over the rim of the bottom there, so it can't be made out. I'm expecting this one to be very hazy, have some sort of sediment in there. So I'm just going to give a bit of a roll, gentle turn. So I've had quite a few of the Source Brewing Company ones, not that I've done reviews on them, but the Hop Source, Piss Week, just to name a couple that I've had, and probably had them on more than one occasion for each of those beers. So we'll get this cracked, get it poured. Probably should have brung one of my pint glasses, but I'm just going to go with my pretend IPA glass. Paid $10 for 6 of these. Haven't broken one yet. They do sound quite thin. Probably about the same thickness as the IPA glasses around the top of it here. It gets a bit thicker down towards the bottom, which is good for holding the colder temperature. Takes a bit longer with a stout, obviously, when you want it to warm up. But anyway, oh yeah, it's very juicy. It's a pineapple, slightly caddy. Starting to grow pretty fond of those caddy aromas, caddy flavours that you get from those sorts of things. Simcoe's quite large for that caddy flavour and aroma. It smells very balanced. We'll find out in the taste. Yeah, so here we go. Colour looks great on camera. That's looking pretty awesome actually. Not bad at all. Aromas come out a whole lot more. Far more pronounced once it's been poured. Slight little head there. Decent amount of carbonation. Clean glass, unchilled, the way it should be. Very chewy. It's that very subtle sort of pronounced, I don't know if you call it bitterness, but that you get for that very heavy dry hop they do with these New England IPAs, sorry, the double IPA. So it's not a massive amount of bitterness, but it's definitely there. Huge amount of amarillo in this. Nice. Nice bouquet, floral, slight spiciness about it, tang, sort of, you know, juicy, very juicy. I rate it. I'll put it up there with some of the best. Um, I don't. How do you describe it? That bitterness is coming through now. That's a lot heavier than what it was initially when I first tried it. These first couple of sips were not quite appealing. Now it's starting to open up a bit more. It's more exposed. Even the aroma's changing. It's very chewy on the first couple of sips, and quite well balanced. It's a little bit sort of more chewier now. I'm looking for that more of that malt in the background. Not finding a lot of that balanced sort of malt that I like to get in a lot of the double IPAs these days. There's been a couple that I've had recently that have been really, really malty, sit really well on the palate, and then that hop flavour comes through at the back. So I guess it's very hard to layer, very hard to balance, and trying to find those double IPAs that actually have that really nice malt profile up front, and then the fruity flavours off the back. More Brewing, not that it's a double IPA, it's a double double New England IPA. That's one of the very few New England IPAs that I've found that actually sits up front with the malt and comes off the back with the hops, but balances really well. So every second sip, your palate, your sensories that allow you to distinguish aroma and flavour at the same time across the palate. Sat really well on that big popper from More Brewing Company, the double New England IPA. Very, very well made beer. I'm yet to have the little popper. It is floating around. It's not long landed here at our local shop, so I'm quite interested in grabbing that. Probably should have grabbed that today, but I went in searching for the Grand Ridge New England IPA that's supposed to be dropping pretty soon here. It did hit the tap at Blind Monk here in Beaumont Street, Newcastle. Last night I think it was tapped there. So I'm very, very keen to get a hold of that. So I held off for a little bit, hoping that it comes in. Supposed to land today. The phone call was made and was told it should be in, but I don't think it made the cut. Anyway, this double IPA from Source Brewing, the Mosarillo, now I'm getting more of that malt. So the flavour and the aroma of the beer's changing, developing. It's got much more of a inviting aroma now. And a much more subtle sort of, more balanced, more evenly layered flavour of the hops. I'm getting that malt now. So there could be a good chance that the beer doesn't react very well to the colder temperature, allowing it to warm slightly develops those flavours. For some people, they might like it to be very intense. Others might like it to be a little bit more subtle, more even, more floating across the palate, I guess you could say. But I think it's definitely a lot nicer at that temperature. So I'm getting more of that malt. The Big Popper would have been at the same temperature. It's coming out of the same fridge when I've done that one. Such a nice beer. So more Brewing doing really good things. Source Brewing, obviously, yep, do great things as well. They're one that I'll pick up sort of every now and then. They bring out a special batch. I generally jump on that as well. While I'm going, a few quick shout outs. Charm Brewing here on YouTube, also Charm Home Brewing Experience on Anchor, and across a few other platforms. I think it's on Apple, Anchor, could be Android, Podbean, a few of the others. Mine's spread across quite a few. It's also available on Australia Radio once again. So for those who want to go and check out my podcast, head on over to that. Also a shout out to Jim's Man Cave. Really digging Jim's channel at the moment on YouTube. Head over there and support Jimmy. It's got a really good intro to his videos, and does some pretty good beer reviews. So it'll be good to catch up with Jimmy a lot more. We've had a catch up. We caught up for briefly, chatted a little bit at the Lambton Bottle Beer Festival. You would have seen, if you're watching YouTube, my channel, where I reviewed his red IPA, the Ripper. I did actually quite like that, and like I said, I think the only thing that was sort of not so much didn't sit right, but probably not suited to that style of beer was the use of Warrior. It did taper off, much like this Source Brewing Company's double IPA. The flavours changed as it warmed, and it's probably picking the right moment to drink the rest of the beer. So doing great things there, Jimmy. A big shout out to Evan at the Beer Drop. Catching up with Evan pretty soon for a podcast. We're going to chat about his journey into his new venture, and what got him there, the things obviously he went through to get to where he is, the reasons why he decided to take on that venture, and a few other questions there I want to throw at Evan, and get a general idea about how much work it was to get to the point he's at now. It's pretty exclusive for the Newcastle area. It is going to be a local company. Obviously, it's working out of a warehouse. It's not central to Newcastle. It is central, but it's not exactly in Newcastle. More of a Lake Macquarie area, and catching up with Evan and having these discussions via podcast. We also might get the YouTube video going as well, so you can get an idea of the the face behind the name, so to speak, and get a general idea of basically, hopefully we can catch up at the warehouse. We get an idea of sort of the capacity and the plans that are well within Evan's reach. So he's been hard at it since giving up his 9 to 5, and looks like this is going to be a pretty promising venture. Also, to be launching pretty soon, we have I'm going to bang heads with a few of the other members of World Home Brew Club, and obviously a couple of the fellas that I've been associating with lately, and we might put together some clothing, some shirts and some long sleeve shirts, maybe hoodies, and probably each have our own brand going there, and we might be able to make something happen under the one banner. The Hop Cartel is still all go. There's a few things changing with the way I'm going to be doing that. It's been a long journey to where I want to get to. A few things holding me back, and I think it's more to do with the fear of not succeeding that's probably holding me back the most. So anyway, cheers for tuning in. Head on over to check out those guys, Jim's Man Cave, Jimmy, Jason, J-Man, Charm Home Brewing, and the Beer Drop, Evident Beer Drop. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be dropping at a pretty quick rate in the next few weeks. So there is talk of the Christmas beer advent calendar coming through the Beer Drop, so it's looks like all systems go. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Do head on over and support those guys that I've mentioned. Support me, and cheers.